Dr. Gu Nian, a skilled surgeon who in the middle of the night ends up entering Taichung City, a place whom they considered as a dangerous island. While driving, she bumps into someone, a mysterious figure known as K, who is a dangerous drug dealer. The man looks wounded, so she tried checking him. He tried to choke her, but in the end she stabs him, causing him to drop momentarily. Minutes later, they were captured by Peng Li's men and were brought in the island. The next morning, Gu Nian wakes up and stabs the guard's pulmonary artery, saying he must stay down if he doesn't want to die. While trying to escape, she saw Kay fighting with the goons. When she opens the door to escape, Kay stops her. She tried to fight, but he overpowers her. While Peng Li's men searches for them, Gu Nian asks Kay who is he. Instead of answering, he fires back and says, "Who are you?" She remarks that she saves him along the way while he suffers from a traumatic pneumothorax. She claims that he would have died if not because of her. She tries making a bargain to let her go and she will not mention about him and the place, but Kay advises her to be careful as there are drug dealers in the place. They then entered a drug lab, and when they're cornered, Kay overpowers them and Gu Nian is amazed. He tells her to go, but as she aces the door, another group of armed men stops her, causing her to raise her hand and surrender. But when Kay asks them to bring down their gun, they all follow. Short after, their leader named Akon comes forward and greets Kay, saying if it's not for him Kay might have died outside. He adds that they should terminate Gu Nian and asks Kay to shoot her. Gu Nian tries to negotiate to Kay and adds that she's a doctor and is useful to him. She reiterates that she saved his life and he must spare her. Despite it, Kay points the gun at her and she closes her eyes. Unexpectedly, Kay shoots elsewhere, shocking them at that moment. He says she's right. She's useful to him, so for 2 days they must play together before selling her to the rebels. He then carries her and brings her to a room. While Gu Nian tries to resist, he removes her blindfold and asks her, "Shall I undress you or you do it yourself?" She keeps resisting and calls him beast, making the guards entertained while believing she's not Kay's accomplished. Kay then tells her to keep shouting while he runs his fingers through her body, making Gu Nian doubts about who really he is. He says, "Don't worry, I'm not interested," then he ties her in bed before leaving. It turns out that Kay's mission is to get Peng Li's ledger before going out of the place. While he's on it, Gu Nian also tries to escape until the building's alarm was triggered. Peng Li's men immediately look for Kay, thinking he let an intruder in. They force the door open and there, they find them kissing. Akon wanted to search the room, but Kay claps back, "There's nothing to search in such a small room as theirs." After sending the men away, Gu Nian slaps him in the face for kissing her and for not letting her escape. It turns out that she tried jumping that night but failed. Fortunately, Kay sees her that time and saved her from falling. Wanting to survive, Gu Nian tries to make a deal with Kay. She knew he's the intruder who returns and Gu Nian uses it to make a bargain. He will let her escape and no one will know about what he did last night. However, Kay objects and instead gives her a tracker, saying it can explode anytime she tries to escape. Meanwhile, Akon is in panic and slaps his man as their ledger file is missing. They suspect that it is Kay who gets it. In the morning, Akon and his men captured Gu Nian, believing that she knew something about the missing file. They tried injecting her a poison to confess, but before it happened, Gu Nian makes a bargain. That is to let her leave and she will monitor Kay, even getting the missing file for them. Akon doesn't believe her and decides to kill her instead, but unexpectedly Kay arrives, stopping them in an instant. Kay says he can have Gu Nian if he likes, but not if he uses her against him. He pushes Akon towards the table and immediately, he releases Gu Nian, who is about to pass out. He then carries her away, but Akon and his men are not done yet. He tells Gu Nian to hold on tight while knocking them down. Unexpectedly, he gets a cut on his face. As they flee out of the room, Akon swears to take revenge in due time. In their room, Kay reminds Gu that she can't leave the island alone and must stay with him for the time being. Minutes later, Kay tends his wound, but Gu Nian takes it for him, making him doubts why she suddenly becomes good this time. He says he doesn't want to be touched by a woman and tries to stop her, but she points out that they're now in one boat and must help each other. She wants to ensure that he'll protect her no matter what, but he challenged her what if he'll sell her with other dealers in the island. With her only hope left, she mentions that at least he never hurted her since they met. There, Kay tells her to get ready to escape for the coming night. Since Kay has already secured his mission to get the ledger, he needs to get out of the place as soon as possible. The thing is, he needs to do it with Goon Yen but intends to leave her if she doesn't cooperate. Akuen, who is still bothered by the missing ledger, is starting to suspect Kay because of how he protects Goon Yen. He brings Kay and Goon Yen in the billiard room, inviting one of the prettiest women in the island and asks Kay to teach her play billiard. Goon Yen reminds Kay not to forget about their agreement that night and is about to leave, but Kay stops her and uses her instead. He then positions her, holds her hand and strikes the ball, pissing the other woman while amusing Goon Yen. While Kuen's suspicion is becoming stronger, their boss Pang Li arrives. He asks Kay if she's the woman he fancies and adds that Goon Yen looks familiar. Immediately, Goon Yen excuses herself and went straight to the woman's room. There, Goon Yen remembers how Pang Li killed her mother. While she remembers everything, she didn't expect that he's a drug dealer and wonders what could be the reason behind it. She then starts to move, strategizing how to get out quick, but Kuen approaches her, saying Kay was already taken care of by other women and that he will also take care of her. While Kay is drugged, the woman tries seducing him, but Kay manages to push her away. Just then, Goon Yen arrives and sends him to their room. She sends him to bed, but Kay keeps touching her and tells her to keep still or he will lose control of himself. He then slashes his palm and tells her he can still behave and will not hurt her. Just then, she assists him to the bathroom and sends him to bed to sleep. Afterwards, Goon Yen meets Akuen, who asks her if she already has the missing USB. In the morning, Kay wakes up and worries that Goon Yen already leaves. They're supposed to escape that night, but Kay was drugged and weren't able to do it. Just then, Akuen calls him to see Pang Li, who is already waiting. There, Akuen cornered him and states that he found the USB file inside Kay's room. Kay is surprised, but what shocks him more is when Goon Yen testifies that the USB was indeed found in their room, attesting that Kay has really stolen it. She then asks Akuen to let her go as it is what he promised her. But when she sees it impossible, she adds that Akuen let her install the USB inside their room in exchange of letting her go. However, Pang Li finds out that the chip inside the USB is missing. Sensing that Goon Yen had framed him, Akuen takes out his knife to stab her, but Kay stops him, saying she is his person and he will discipline her himself. Short after, Kuen asks Pang Li to just let them go, but Pang Li suspects them about the file. Moments later, Kay says he will help her escape at night while he distracts the guards. He adds that someone will fetch her outside the gate until she goes home safe. His words seems to worry Goon Yen, thinking that he will be left in danger. Kay asks her twice if she's worried for him, but she says it's not. He then tells her to erase everything that happened in the island, including him. He wants her to forget about him and everything he did to help her. For him, it is the best way to protect her and all the people that surrounds her. However, while Kay negotiates with Pang Li, Akuen cornered Goon Yen, telling her that Kay has already given her to him. Upon learning that Goon Yen is already in Akuen's hand, Kay is in panic. Pang Li then gives him a choice: trade with him or Goon Yen. Kay says she's just a woman, so he chooses to trade with him. While Akuen is advancing in bed, Kay excuses himself to the comfort room and leaves Pang Li, who is already drunk. Immediately, Kay turns off the main switch and knocks down the guards. But before he arrives, Goon Yen has already left. Turns out that she hurted Kuen's eyes and even takes away his gun. She then proceeds near the shore, planning to jump either to die or stay alive. Now that Kay decides to give her away and choose to trade with Pang Li, she must rely on herself to survive. Kay tries to stop her, but it seems she's already decided. He tried to explain that what happened was an accident, but she doesn't believe him and shoots him instead. She says she believes she can live and jumps off the shore before Pang Li and his men catches her. Days after, Gun Yen wakes up in the hospital bed and learns that someone has brought her there. She remembers shooting Kay before jumping while she worries that they might come back for revenge. She goes outside to check and saw Peng Li and his men are searching for her. She tried to hide but bumps into a police officer who turns out to be Peng Li's man. He cornered her and tries killing her, but someone in the shadow shoots him, leaving him dead. As the man in the shadow approaches, Gun Yen passes out and drops on his arms, who turns out to be Kay. Peng Li learns about Kay saving Gun Yen and was surprised that he's still alive. Hours later, she wakes up in a different bed and is shocked to find Kay sitting down in front of her. Kay says she must be relieved as she's now in a safe place. However, Gun Yen tries to run away, but Kay stops her, putting her back to bed. Unexpectedly, she slaps him hard and says, "Why did you save me? If you want to kill me, just do it." Kay tried to explain that he tried to save her from Akuan, but it's already late. Gun Yen doesn't believe him and says, "If you want to save me, just let me leave." She intends to leave, but Kay warns her of Peng Li and his men who are still around looking for them. Nevertheless, Kay still helps her and states that once he sends her away he will not see him again. Gun Yen then convinces Kay to go straight to the police and report Peng Li. But upon arriving, they saw their wanted names and photos posted on the wall. Looks like they're both wanted to the police, all because they were the one present when a police was killed in the hospital. The police tried chasing them, but they ran away. Unexpectedly, Kay collapses due to wounds and exhaustion. Gun Yen then decides to bring him back to his place and finds out that he has a gunshot on his chest. He wants her to leave, but she says, "I will leave, I'll just make sure you'll not die." After removing the bullet, Kay passed out again. Gun Yen keeps waking him up and says she still has questions to ask and must not die. While she holds his face, Kay wakes up and holds her tight, saying, "I told you I'm not going to die." In the morning, Gun Yen changes his dressing and Kay can't keep his eyes on her. He asks, "What are you hiding? I can see it in your eyes." She says she's not hiding anything and asks back, "How about you? Why did you save me and hid your wound from me?" Soon after, Peng Li and his men enters Kay's room, but they find nothing. While hiding, Kay gives the chip to Gun Yen and tells her not to come out no matter what. Kay then comes out and faces them with a deadly encounter. Worried, Gun Yen comes out and shows them the chip. She asks Peng Li to let them go and she'll give them the chip. But she fakes it by throwing it in the window, making them get out of the room. This gives Kay and Gun Yen a chance to escape until they reach the woods nearby. However, Kay's already losing blood because of another gunshot. He asks where's the chip and Gun Yen shows it to him. She asks, "Is this important than your life? You're already dying yet you still ask for this?" He says yes and tells her to go and leave him behind. She then says she's going to ask for help, but after leaving, he already collapsed. Hours later, Gun Yen returns and tends him. She checks on his fever, but Kay asks her, "Why did you return?" He says he already let her go, but why did he came back? Gun Yen states that she came back because she's a doctor, but he doesn't believe her. He then pushes her on the wall and kisses her. She resists at first, but afterwards she gives in. Kay asks her, "Why did you stop pushing me? I am a drug dealer, didn't I warn you not to develop any feelings for me?" Upset, Gun Yen blurts out that she didn't have any feelings. Even she has something to do with him, they can never be together. She asks, "Are you satisfied?" Just then, Peng Li arrives. Immediately, they were captured and they bring them elsewhere. Before pushing them in a ravine, Peng Li asks them the chip and says he now remembers Gun Yen. He says she's the daughter of the dean whom he killed years ago. She asks why did he killed her, but he says she has to ask Kay about it. Peng Li then counts from 1 to 3 and he will push Gun Yen down. However, Kay stops him and tries making a deal. Kay calls Peng Li closer but knocks him down until a fight ensues. Gun Yen shoots someone who is about to kill Kay but suddenly humbles after realizing she's a doctor. As they both grapple for life, Kay tells Gun Yen to go, to leave everything behind and live a new life. Gunyen, who already developed feelings at some point, asks him, "Can't we go together?" Sadly, K says no. Peng Li gains consciousness and shoots K until he drops. Unexpectedly, all of this were flashbacks based on Gunyen's past. She keeps hallucinating and thinks that it is because of the medicine she's taking. Her co-doctor, Zhou Zhen, who seems interested in her, tells her that all the drug dealers she encountered before were dead. He then changed her medicine and even invites her for dinner. However, Gunyen tells him she needs to talk with their dean regarding the death of her mother. Unexpectedly, she finds him dead in his office. Until she saw a man hiding behind the curtain. The man, who turns out to be K, holds her and instructs her not to move. Before she can see him, he knocks her at the back, causing her to pass out. Hours later, she wakes up in bed and keeps mentioning the dean. There, Zhou Zhen, her co-doctor, tells her that the dean had a myocardial infraction and died. Despite this, Gunyen still doubts his death, claiming that the dean was deliberately killed. However, due to her hallucination, the police says her claim is invalid. The officer also mentioned the possibility that the dean refuses to cooperate with the Wei family, causing to his death. He also mentioned about a brutal man named Song Qian, who represents the Wei family, implying that he could be the dean's killer. During the dean's funeral, Gunyen received the dean's phone, mistakenly exchanged with her phone during the incident. Curious, she calls out the number registered in the dean's recent calls. Just then, Song Qian and his men arrives. Gunyen, who didn't see K for a long time, is taken aback and says, "K." Unexpectedly, K didn't recognize her and states that she's mistaken, as his name is Song Qian and not K. When they exit the room, Gunyen follows him, and from afar, she examines him. His voice is similar to the man she encountered at the dean's office, implying that he's the killer. She searches for his name online and decides to visit him in his office. Unfortunately, he's out on a party. Without second thought, Gunyen decides to see him. She states that she's a representative of Renxin Hospital. Song Qian plays ignorance and questions her presence, saying how can they negotiate when he doesn't even know her. There. Gunyen explains that she only came to verify something. She mentions about his last call with the dean before his death and asks what did he told him during the call. There, Song Qian states that the Wei family is Renxin's hospital partner and is normal to have everyday conversation with them. Gunyen then asks if he was once in Taichung. She remarks that she met someone there who looks exactly the same as him. She asks if that person named K is still alive. With this, Song Qian asks back what is her relationship to that man, that she's interested in knowing it. She says she's just a friend who is not familiar to him. That being said, Song Qian clarifies that he is not K, that he's never in to Taichung and that he never saved anyone there. He asks, "Does that satisfy you?" Unsatisfied, Gunyen follows him and hands him a wine. She says it's her way of apologizing for the time she cost. She adds that after this, she'll never show up again. She then makes a toss, deliberately spilling the wine on his chest. Her plan is to check the scar that he once had when she shot him in the island months ago. While she apologizes and unbuttons his shirt, he drags her with him in the pool and cornered him up close. He said, "Dr. Gu, it seems your hand is more good in fishing rather than saving lives." And since she can't still see the scar, she rides on with him, touches his face, and asks, "Don't you like it?" Song Qian then says he likes it and adds that his room is ready upstairs. Nevertheless, Gunyen points out that before spending herself with a man, she needs to check his body first. Surprisingly, the scar that she needs to see is not there. She reasons out that she needs to go as she remembers to do something important. Pissed, Song Qian held her hand and says that it's not impossible for her to play there. He then starts to kiss her, but Gunyen slaps him hard. Upset by her sudden behavior, Song Qian tells her to directly call their HR and pay the consultation fee next time. Before leaving, Gunyen said, "You are really not him. At least the man I'm looking for never insults me like this." But just as she comes out of the water, a woman slaps her in the face and claims that Gu Nian is the woman who has been reported to be following Song Qian the previous days. When Gu Nian asks who she is, Song Qian says, "She's my girlfriend." There, the woman says Gu Nian has no upbringing who seduces other woman's man. Gu Nian then claps back and says that her upbringing doesn't include slapping others merely because of suspicion. Gu Nian tells her to give a hang-up emergency as it seems she has a pre-retinal failure, having blindness even though her boyfriend is openly cheating on her. Upset, the woman pulls Gu Nian in the pool and tries to drown her. Fortunately, somebody helps her. After all the chaos made, Gu Nian finds herself alone, totally drenched and devastated. While at home, Gu Nian receives a message from Wei Wei stating that Song Qian has recently joined the Wei family. She reports that after getting engaged to Wei's daughter, Wei Qing, he became the company's executive director. This news convinces Gu Nian that Song Qian is not K. Meanwhile, at the Wei's residence, Qing asks Song Qian about Dr. Gu but he says he never met her before. Qing suspects that maybe they met before but he forgot, it's because he lost his memory few months ago. She suggests to get rid of Gu Nian, knowing that she knew he is involved in a drug trade before. She worries that sooner or later, Gu Nian will find out about him. However, Song Qian says that she's just a doctor and cannot threaten him for that. She then tries to touch him wanting to spend a night with him but he stops her saying his wound isn't fully recovered yet. Turns out that Song Qian never touched her, making her worried as she demands Qian never to see Dr. Gu again. Minutes later, an officer calls him and informs that they already have the dean's phone and it must be dealt with immediately. This time, Gu Nian finds out that the dean's death has something to do with Wei's pharmaceutical. She then attends a partnership collaboration meeting with the Wei's and unexpectedly meets Song Qian. Turns out that he is in charge of the meeting. Afterwards, Song Qian invites her for dinner but she turns it down saying she has other things to do. When her pen falls, Song Qian helps her but she gives him a piercing look. He asks, "Am I that scary to you?" Gu Nian reasons out that they just met so it's normal that she acts that way. Just then, Zhou Zhen arrives and invites Gu Nian for dinner. Immediately, she agrees but Song Qian didn't let it pass. He says he'll be joining them too since he has something to ask Zhou. At the restaurant, Zhou ordered a couple's meal and Qian did the same. There, Gu Nian did nothing but to watch them play. Of course Wei Qing is upset upon learning that Song Qian spends dinner with Dr. Gu. While the three talk, Song Qian learns that the two are close friends since childhood. He asks Dr. Zhou how to treat amnesia and he advises him to come to the hospital. Realizing that he is a close friend of Gu Nian, he prefers not to go. Meanwhile, Gu Nian, who is about to forget K, begins to suspect after learning that Song Qian is allergic to mangoes. It is after she remembers that in Taichung, K is also allergic to it. Upon going back, Gu Nian heads to the hospital's warehouse to check a suspicious box related to Wei's pharmaceutical. She's about to be caught, but Song Qian saves her by faking a kiss, sending the guard away. Song Qian asks what she's doing in the warehouse and she reasons out that she's lost. She tried going away but he spoos her. When he says don't move, Gu Nian realizes that his voice is same as the man who held her at the dean's office. While on her way back, she's about to be captured by Wei's men but fortunately Song Qian followed her. He knocks down the men and pulls Gu Nian to his car. Again, she asks who he is but he reiterates that he is not K. She still doubts that he's the dean's killer and advises him to better go to the police and explain his side. However, Song Qian fires back that he didn't do it and if she has proof, she'll just bring it to the police. He then pulls Gu Nian out of the car and reminds her to stop delving into details and putting her life in danger. He adds that not all the time, somebody will come to save her. At home, Gu Nian wonders that if Song Qian killed the dean, why did he help her? More than this, she wonders who tried to kill her after entering the warehouse. Meanwhile, it seems that Song Qian has someone to keep an eye on Gu Nian. When he was asked what to do in case he starts to doubt him, he advises the man to get rid of her. The next day, the hospital's director scolds Gu Nian for letting unmarked drugs get out of the market. Since she's in charge and supervising, she will be held accountable. Now that she's suspended from work, she promised that in 3 days, she'll find out who's liable. And if she can't do it, she'll resign right away. Later, it turns out that Wei Qing is paying someone to sabotage Gu Nian from work. She wants her to be expelled from the hospital and rot in jail. Eager to prove her innocence, Gu Nian needs to find a video evidence, and one of the source is from the parking area. However, out of all the cameras installed, they find nothing except a suspicious space without camera. With the help of Wei Wei, Gu Nian enters a restricted parking lot. Unexpectedly, the guards saw her, but she managed to enter a car which turns out to be Song Qian's. She explains that the accusation against her is not true and asks him to help her by looking into his dashcam. Unfortunately, he reminds her of his last word that he will not help her any longer. For the second time, he shoos her away, leaving her hopeless. Hours later, she receives a footage about Wei Qing setting her up. In the video, Wei Qing is instructing Nurse Lin to make a fake transaction about unmarked drugs, making Gu Nian responsible. Immediately, Gu Nian finds Wei Qing and catches her in the act making a call about her expulsion. Gu Nian then tells her that she's not only blind but also brainless. She explains how she's losing her company's tens of millions just because she's jealous of her. Instead of taking revenge, Gu Nian advises her not to worry too much about love. She says she's not interested about someone else's boyfriend and warns her to stop or she'll let the law punish her for what she did. As she turns back to leave, she finds Song Qian at the back listening. Immediately, Wei Qing explains to him that she didn't do it and that she was just framed. Song Qian then calms her and says he believes her. At home, Gu Nian is wondering who handed her the video recorder. She even doubts if Song Qian helps her because she asks for his help the other day. At the hospital, she is surprised to see Zhao Yan, the man who assists in killing her mother. She plans to report him to the police, but while she makes the call, Zhao cornered her and tries to choke her. Fortunately, Song Qian passes by and helps, but Zhao strikes him at the back, leaving him wounded. Gu Nian tries to chase Zhao, but Song Qian stops her. And before Gu Nian doubts him, he made a call for the gates to be locked and to catch Zhao. Unfortunately, he already escaped. While Gu Nian tends Song Qian's wound, she keeps asking why he's helping her. He asks her, "Are you worried about me?" The same question he asks in the past. Gu Nian says no, but deep inside, she's entangled with the question, who really is he? Minutes later, someone calls to meet Qian in a nearby bar. Eager to see his whereabouts, Gu Nian decides to go there with her friend. It turns out that Song Qian is investigating Zhao Yan's whereabouts and doesn't want Gu Nian to get involved. Learning that Gu Nian follows him, he advises his men to give Gu Nian a medicine and brings her to his room. Unexpectedly, they give her a drug that arouses sexual desire. While Wei goes to the counter, Gu Nian starts to get tipsy after drinking the wine. The waiter tries to carry her away, but she resists him and hurts her palm instead. She tries walking away but ends up dropping in Song Qian's arm. There, Song Qian asks her why is she interested in Zhao Yan and what's her relationship with him. Right away, she asks first for his help, then she will tell about him. As the medicine is taking effect, she's already burning hot and wants to take off her clothes. Flustered, Qian brings her in the bathtub and gives her a cold shower. While Qian is looking for a towel, she plunges at him and started kissing him. She pushes him towards the bed and rides on top of him, ready to make love. While she kisses him, Song Qian rolls over and reciprocates. In the morning, Song Qian wakes her up saying, "If you don't wake up, I'm going to kiss you." Short after, Qian asks her immediately about Zhao. However, Gu Nian asks him to bring Zhao Yan first. Song Qian doesn't agree, but she mentions that she knew everything that he did to her last night. She claims that she uses a recorder and records everything they did to her, and this includes drugging her wine. She adds that she can bring the recorder to the police if he will not cooperate. Just then she tries calling someone but Song Qian snatches her phone saying, "Don't call a man while we're still talking." She tried getting it back but he almost kissed her making her give up and leaves. Suddenly, she returns and hides under the table confusing Song Qian. Just then, Wei Qing arrives with her homemade hot soup to relieve Song Qian's hangover. Unexpectedly, her phone fell down right beside Gu Nian. Song Qian then takes the phone and he almost kisses her under Wei Qing's nose. After Wei Qing leaves, Song Qian sends Gu Nian back to the hospital. He asks her to delete the video but she also insists in finding Zhao Yan first. The man related to her mother's death. Just then, Wei Wei calls her but Song Qian snatches her phone trying to check who is calling. Wei Wei says she saw the surveillance video at the bar and it is Song Qian who carries her away. She even mentioned about Gu Nian's plan to seduce Qian in order to help her. Wei Wei asks her, "Did you enjoy it or are you dissatisfied with him?" The call seems to amuse Song Qian and there he asks Gu Nian, "Are you not satisfied?" Gu Nian tells him not to misunderstand as to what she wants is for him to help her find Zhao. She offers to pay him with a large sum but Song Qian points out that she already slept with him. She remembers what happened but still she claims that she didn't sleep with him. Just then, Dr. Zhou Zhen arrives but Song Qian locks the door stopping her from getting out. Gu Nian asks him what else does he want. He said, "Do you like him? I thought you liked the guy named K." Gu Nian says she likes Dr. Zhou and it's none of his business as he already has his own fiancée. She states that she no longer loves K and it doesn't matter whoever she wants. She reminds him to be careful of his actions or it will be misunderstood. When she gets out of the car, Song Qian looks sad and jealous. There, he remembers what he told Gu Nian in the island to never harbor any feelings for him. What's more, his superior advises him to fake an amnesia and leave no traces of the past. Therefore it will not cause any problem to his new role, to infiltrate the Wei group. Hours later, Gu Nian was asked to go to the warehouse. While there, a group of men tried to scare her saying someone has already paid her life. Using her usual technique, she tells them they're being recorded and soon the police will find out. She asks who sent them for her and they revealed that Wei Qing instructed them. Just then, someone sets a fire making them panicked. Before Gu Nian can get out, the door was already locked. As the fire starts to explode, Song Qian learns about the news and immediately proceeds to the area. Without halt, he helps Gu Nian out carrying her into his arms, without looking back. At the hospital room, Wei Qing confronts Song Qian about how he put his life on the line just to save Gu Nian. There, Song Qian asks her why she set the warehouse on fire. He reiterates that aside from losing the warehouse, anyone dead found there will bring their company in question and will put her to prison. Wei Qing denies and says she only instructed them to scare Dr. Gu. Hours later, it is revealed that someone really wants to get rid of Dr. Gu. The next morning, Dr. Zhou Zhen tells Gu Nian that the arsonists had already surrendered and the warehouse is fully burned. He reminds her not to keep diving into details as she's only putting her life in danger. He says that if he didn't help her from the fire, she's already dead by now. Once again, he reiterates about his love saying he wants to take care of her and that he is still waiting. Before she says yes, Song Qian arrives. There, Song Qian and Zhou stare daggers as if giving each other a warning. After Zhou leaves, Qian gives her an address where they will find Zhao Yan. Since she keeps insisting about it, this time, Zhou Zhen visits Wei Qing at home and it turns out that he is Qing's brother. He warns her about what she did in the warehouse. He mentions that she almost killed Dr. Gu and might put her to prison. She claps back that he shouldn't forget that he is the one who killed Gu Nian's mother. The next day, Mr. Song and Dr. Gu enters a casino to find Zhao Yan. Upon entering, they were locked inside and Song Qian tells Gu to save herself should something happen inside. When the casino owner enters, he asks who is Gu Nian and says that he remembers Song Qian. He calls him K and states that he really did survive. Song Qian explains that he is not K and that he is the head of the Wei family. When he asks about Gunyen, she started holding Qian's arm, acting as Miss Wei and surprising Song Qian at that moment. The casino owner laughs, surprised that the lady of the Wei family has become beautiful. There, Song Qian tells them to get down to business and ask them to bring Zhao Yan. However, the owner doesn't want money in exchange but prefers Gunyen instead. Afterwards, they were sent elsewhere to find Zhao. However, it's Akun who is waiting for them. He admits that he knew they've been looking for Zhao, so he spread the rumor that Zhao is with him. He plans to take revenge on Gunyen, who destroyed his eyes and wanted to bury her alive with Peng Li. He also mentions that for the sake of brotherhood, he helped Kay survive a fatal death in Taichung. However, Song Qian still denies that he is Kay. In order to prove it, Akun includes Wei Qing in the scene and asks Song Qian to choose. He adds about the intimate relationship that Kay and Gunyen had shared in Taichung. He then hands Qian a gun and asks him to shoot either the old lover or the present fiancée. He states that if he can't, he'll be shooting them all. Just then, someone in the line instructs Song Qian to play a delaying tactic as the snipers are already coming. Surprisingly, Dr. Gu was shot near the heart. Shocked by what happened, Song Qian tries waking up Gunyen, but she already passed out. Turns out that Akun shoots her and wants to make sure she's dead. In an instant, Song Qian grabs his arm and shoots his men instead. Immediately, he carries Gunyen out, leaving Wei Qing behind. While Gunyen is recovering, Song Qian reports to his superior, who congratulated him for capturing Akun and his group. He says that soon, Song Qian will be back to the police force. He asks about Gunyen and reminds him to take control as he's already deeply involved in his mission. He mentions about his wedding with Miss Wei and reminds that it will be a great chance to meet all the drug dealers in the country. Meanwhile, after learning that Song Qian is going to marry Wei Qing soon, Gunyen is pissed and calls him bastard. At night, Qian sends her a message to meet with him as they're going to meet Zhao at a bar. However, when Zhao sees her, he runs away and was hit by a vehicle. Gunyen panics while trying to revive him, but Song Qian declares that he's already dead. Gunyen is in denial as she still has lots to ask about her mother's death. Just then, Zhao Yan secretly hands him a card from his pocket before he had his last breath. Qian says he looks tired and offers to send her home, but Zhou Zhen arrives and takes her instead. He asks Gunyen if Zhao has given her something, but Gunyen says no. He then invites her to attend a medical seminar with him the next day to relax her mind. At home, while asleep, Gunyen hears some noise outside her room. She goes out to check and finds a masked man looking for something. Gunyen rushes back in her room while the man tries to chase her. Suddenly, Qian arrives because of the emergency locator that Gunyen still wears in her arm. When Qian asks her if she's okay, Gunyen asks back and says, "Shall I call you Kay or Song Qian?" Qian asks why and she tells him about the tracker he gave her in the island. He told her to press it once she's in danger, and now that she did it, he did really come. She asks why did he lied to her, and he tries to reason out, but she knew it's because he's engaged to the Wei family. She thought he will be at least honest to her for the sake of what they've been through, but she's mistaken. Now that she knew he is Kay, she threw away the emergency locator and declares that she doesn't want to ever see him again. Bound to his mission, he began to step away without a word. Gunyen knew the intruder is looking for the card, and she already suspects someone in her mind. The next day, Zhou Zhen and Gu attend the medical seminar where Qian and Qing are also attending. Since there's no more room left, Gunyen agrees to share a couple's room with Zhou Zhen, who gets excited in an instant. It turns out that Gunyen has found out something in his laptop the other day, and the closer she gets to him, the easier it would be. She learns that Zhou Zhen is involved in selling prohibited drugs involving Zhou Yan. While Zhou Zhen is in the shower, she immediately opens his laptop and copied his files. Suddenly, Zhou Zhen comes out of the shower and intends to kiss her and makes love with her, but she declines as she's going to prepare for their incoming dinner party. Pissed, Zhou Zhen tells her that his patience is already running short, so she must consider it. Hours later, the dinner party begins and everyone is drinking wine. However, Gunyan and Qian can't stop staring into each other. Sensing what's happening, Wei Qing calls everyone's attention and announces that she and Qian will be marrying the coming week. Qian is surprised by her abrupt decision, and while he looks at Gunyan's eyes, she's already in tears. Gunyan gives him a toss from afar while wishing him a harmonious marriage. Short after, she exits to find fresh air. However, Wei Qing follows her and insults her about Qian. She adds that since she came, her happy relationship with him had changed. When Wei Qing is about to slap her, Gunyan holds her hands up and says, "You better watch out for Song Qian or he will fall for me," leaving Wei Qing more worried. While Gunyan is on her way, Zhou Zhen messaged her that he is eagerly waiting in their room. However, Song Qian is also waiting in the corridor. He pulls her in and asks why she's not answering his calls. She says there's no reason for her to answer, but he asks if she's not going to ask about the wedding. She says she'll not ask about it and that she needs to go as Zhou Zhen is waiting in their room. But before the lift closes, Qian goes in, making Gunyan amused. He says Zhou Zhen is not the right man for her, and she fires back that she can't be with a drug dealer either. She adds that he will marry Wei Qing in a week's time and that she and Zhou Zhen will also marry soon. As she goes out from the lift, Zhou Zhen is elated to see her. However, Qian pulls her back and kisses her, shocking though in an instant. Upset, he dives in to attack Qian, but the lift already closes. Short after, Qian asks Gunyan, "Don't you like it? Why didn't you push me?" Surprisingly, Gu slaps him hard and says, "I forgot that you've always been such a jerk. After doing the things you do, you already forgot me in an instant." While going back, Gunyan heard Zhou and Qing arguing. Zhou warns Qing that if she can't take care of his man, he will deal with it himself. This time, Gunyan can't go back to the room and tries to hide from him, but while she looks for a place to hide, Qian pulls her into his room. He says he has a separate room and tells her to stay there for the night. Just then, Wei Qing arrives and Qian leads her to talk in her room instead. While Gunyan is already asleep, Qian comes back and whispers that he needs to do something and will be right back for her. He finds Zhou Zhen talking with his men about a drug factory he rebuilding. Qian hears everything and says, "It's really you, drug maker." Zhou asks when did he find out about him, and Qian says it's from the time Gunyan's house was searched. While Qian is away, Gunyan starts making her move to find out about a mezzanine located in the hospital. Having the card that Zhao Yan has given her, she uses it to open a secret door related to Wei's pharmaceuticals, leading her to a factory where they manufacture prohibited drugs. She believes that the dean and her mother were killed because of this. Just then, one of the men saw her and she was chased. Fortunately, she found the exit, but Zhou Zhen is already there waiting for her. He invites her in to send her home, but knowing that she's now in danger, she declines. While she keeps on walking, Zhou's men captured her, but Qian, who is passing by, sees them. He blocks Zhou Zhen and confronts him, but Zhou says he has to know his place. He adds that Gunyan already knew about the hidden factory and they have to get rid of her. At home, Qian calls his superior about Gunyan's location and asks when will the police be dispatched. Qian states that Gunyan cannot be involved, but his superior says he can't just take matters into his hand and do as he pleases. Before going out, Wei Qing arrives and tells him that they need to prepare for the wedding. However, Qian tells her he will be leaving in few days and will just catch up for their wedding. Hours later, he finds Gunyan's location and encounters groups of armed men before reaching her. Just when they think it's over, another group of men cornered them, but before they can shoot them, they already jump down the shore. There, Qian is already in bad condition and Gunyan tries to revive him. She wonders why he saved her, the fact that he's one of them. She then leads him to rest elsewhere and tends his wounds. She assures him that he will not die, but she demands him to answer her questions later. The next day, they were located by Zhou Zhen's men and Qian is seriously injured. Luckily, they were able to escape and goes back to Qian's place. Immediately, Gunyan tends his wounds and she assures that he will take care of him to live. Realizing everything that happened, Gu Nian started to doubt about his real identity. Just then, Officer Zhang calls via Qian's phone. Gu Nian answered and reports that Song Qian is now at home and is under her care. Hours later, Officer Zhang visits and tells Gu Nian that Song Qian is under a mission to infiltrate the drug circle, including the Wei family. He mentions that he didn't expect her to get entangled with him along the way. He further explains that during the time of the Dean's murder, Qian was one step late in saving him, just after the Wei family sends Zhao Yan to kill him. Furthermore, the officer states that Qian is in a critical mission and remarks that he is not for her. He will be sending someone to take care of him and hopes that they will not see each other again. At home, Gu Nian can't be at ease and is worried about Qian's condition. Despite Mr. Zhang's warning, she still visits him and states that she's not leaving him like that. She doesn't want to end things without saying anything, just like what happened when they are still in Taichung. There, she asks him if they can leave the future for now and thinks only of today. Despite this, Qian pulls her hand and intends to let her leave the door, but Gu Nian points out that once she leaves, he will surely regret it. She then holds him close as if never letting him go. However, Qian states that they can't be together as dangers are always looming around him. He adds about her being in danger too and that he's afraid to lose her. Nevertheless, Gu Nian assures that she's not afraid of the dangers because he is there. With this, Qian turns back and embraces her, thankful that despite all the dangers they encounter, they're still alive and had survived them all. Together, they finished it with a kiss, fixing their unresolved feelings. The next day, Qian continues his mission, exposing and raiding all the illegal works done by the Wei family and all others related to drugs. Though he was swayed by only one woman, he still continues to work as a member of the police force. Faithful to his country that he serves and maintains safety, not only for the one he loves, but the entire nation whom he serves. That's all for today. We should remember that love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7.